The rain fell hard against the iron gates, mixing with the tears on her face as she stood there, shivering, her worn-out shoes sinking into the mud. She had traveled miles with nothing but hope and a folder clutched tightly in her hands, believing that this day might change her life. But as the security guard glanced at her appearance, her faded clothes, her tired face, and her trembling hands, he shook his head coldly and dismissed her. "You don't belong here." The words pierced her heart more than the rain that soaked her through. She turned her gaze toward the towering glass building in front of her, the world of opportunity she had dreamed of, now locked behind steel gates and indifference. Before you continue with this story, take a moment to support kindness in the world. If you believe in second chances and the power of compassion, please like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel, Acts of Kindness. Together, we can remind the world that empathy and humanity still matter. Her name was Aisha. Life had not been kind to her. Born into poverty, she had spent most of her childhood helping her mother sew clothes in a dimly lit one-room house while her friends attended school. Her father had passed away early, leaving her mother to work tirelessly just to put food on the table. Aisha often dreamed of escaping the cycle of struggle, of standing tall one day in a place where she would be seen not for her worn shoes or calloused hands, but for her worth, her talent, and her heart. She had always been determined, self-teaching herself through borrowed books, old newspapers, and free community classes. That morning, she had set out before dawn with a dream tucked under her arm. A multinational company was hiring, and she had heard whispers that the CEO himself valued passion over degrees. She had no polished resume, no expensive suit to wear, but she had her sketches, her plans, her late-night scribbles of ideas, and the hope that someone, just one person, would see her potential. But as she stood at the gate, drenched, the guard only saw another desperate girl with nothing to offer. His dismissive words cut her deeper than any wound, and as the gate slammed shut in her face, her knees weakened. For a moment, she almost gave up. She thought of going back home, of telling her mother she had tried but failed. She thought of how the world always had a way of reminding her where she belonged, outside, looking in. But fate has a way of intervening when hope refuses to die. From the corner of her eye, she noticed a sleek black car stopping just before the gate. The door opened, and out stepped a man in a sharp-tailored suit, his presence commanding even without a word. Employees outside whispered in awe as he walked past. It was none other than Mr. Armin, the CEO himself, a man both feared and admired for his brilliance and discipline. The rain seemed to pause around him, his stride confident and deliberate. Aisha lowered her eyes, ashamed of her state. She thought he wouldn't even notice her. But as he approached the gate, his gaze shifted, and he stopped. There she was, a girl, trembling, soaked to the bone, holding onto a folder as if it was her last lifeline. Something in her eyes caught him. They were not eyes of pity or desperation alone. They held fire, determination, and a silent scream for a chance. He turned to the guard, his voice sharp yet calm. "Why is she outside?" The guard stuttered, unsure how to respond. He had no answer other than his assumption, his judgment based on her appearance. Armin's expression hardened. Without another word, he walked to the gate, pushed it open with his own hands, and stepped aside. His gesture was simple, yet it shattered every wall she had ever faced. He looked at her directly and said, "Come in." The world seemed to still in that moment. Aisha's legs shook as she stepped forward, her soaked shoes squeaking against the pavement. It felt unreal, like stepping from the shadows into the light. The employees watching whispered among themselves, surprised, even shocked, that their CEO had opened the door for a stranger. Inside the grand lobby, with its marble floors and towering chandeliers, Aisha felt out of place. Yet Armin's eyes did not waver from her. He gestured for her to follow. For the first time, someone wasn't looking at her clothes, her shoes, or her background. They were looking at her. In his office, with walls lined with books and windows overlooking the city, he asked her to show what she had brought. With trembling hands, she opened her folder. Outspilled sketches of designs, handwritten notes on business ideas, models she had built out of scraps. Every page bore evidence of sleepless nights and unrelenting passion. Her voice cracked as she explained, afraid she wasn't making sense, but Armin listened intently. He saw beyond the imperfect lines and the lack of polish. He saw vision. He leaned back in his chair, his sharp eyes softening for the first time that morning. "Why do you want this?" he asked. Her answer was simple yet powerful. She wanted not just to live herself, but to give her mother a life where she didn't have to break her back every day. She wanted to create opportunities for others like her, those who were always turned away at the gate before they even had the chance to prove themselves. Silence hung heavy in the room before Armin finally spoke. The world has enough people with degrees and polish. What it lacks are people with fire in their hearts. And you, his voice softened, you have that fire. In that instant, her life changed. Armin didn't just offer her a job. He offered her mentorship, guidance, and a chance to shine. Under his leadership, Aisha began working tirelessly, learning the ropes of the corporate world while pouring her creativity into every task. Many doubted her at first. Some whispered she didn't belong, that she was just a charity case. But Aisha refused to let their voices drown her spirit. She worked longer hours than anyone else, proving not only her worth but her brilliance. Slowly, the same colleagues who once doubted her began to admire her. Months passed, and one of Aisha's ideas, a unique design and marketing plan, caught international attention. The company thrived, and for the first time, she stood on a stage, presenting her vision to an audience that applauded her. From the girl drenched at the gate, she had become a voice that inspired many. But what made her story even more powerful was not her rise alone. Aisha never forgot the gates that once rejected her. With Armin's support, she started a program within the company that opened doors for those without degrees, those from underprivileged backgrounds, those who were often turned away without a chance. She created pathways for talent that was hidden, overlooked, ignored. And every time she welcomed someone new, she remembered that moment in the rain, when the CEO himself opened the door for her. To those watching this story, if this touched your heart, please don't forget to like this video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Acts of Kindness. Stories like these remind us that one act of compassion can change a life forever, and in turn, that life can change the world. And before we end, let me ask you something special. If you believe everyone deserves a chance, no matter where they come from, comment below with the words, "Kindness opens doors." Let's fill the comments with hope and light. Because sometimes, all it takes is one open door to transform a destiny.